Pinpoint Doppler 12 Futurecast.
Well, good morning. If you're just tuning into our newscast right now, a few changes coming in overnight. The first major one is that the winter storm watch, which was in effect, has now been downgraded to a winter weather advisory. Now, we could still see some pretty slick and tough conditions on the roads, especially in western Rhode Island, northern Rhode Island. In fact, let's put up that map right now of where that advisory is now in effect. But basically, the reason the Weather Service does this, and I agree with this decision, is that they're expecting less in the way of snow amounts. But still, when we add up some snow, sleet, maybe some rain, that would be tonight, all the way through tomorrow night, it could make for some tough driving. Not impassable, but a little bit slow. And you want to use caution in places like western Kent County, West Greenwich, on into Foster, Gloucester, places like Smithfield and Lincoln, Rhode Island. Now, even down into Providence towards the South Shore, some snow is possible, but we're going to get less in the way of accumulation, more in the way of rain. Hence, we don't have any watches or warnings in effect right now, but of course that could change over this afternoon and this evening, so stay tuned. Now, let's talk about the timeline of this weekend. This afternoon, the snow starts to move in. Probably not the steady stuff until late afternoon into the evening. It's going to have trouble sticking at first. Then tonight, as the temperatures drop a little bit, could see some accumulation, especially in those zones I just showed you for the winter weather advisory. But some milder air will work in, so we'll start to mix in some sleet and rain with the snow, especially from Providence and Point south of Providence. Overnight, that mix continues, and then any mix that's around tomorrow morning goes back over to snow by tomorrow afternoon as some colder air moves into place. That's the second new piece of information coming in, is that once the storm kind of sits well offshore, it could be a little bit of redevelopment behind it, giving us perhaps a little bit of additional accumulation tomorrow night into early Monday morning. Let's start first with the satellite loop. The storm taking a while to get organized. Some rain showers still to the south of New York City, and eventually this forms into that center of low pressure as it winds up the coast. Could see some flurries off and on this morning, but again, the steady stuff not until this afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies in Providence right now. 33 degrees is your temperature. Block Island 37. Newport, you're at 33. Let's look at the wind speeds in Newport right now at 5 miles an hour. Now, the silver lining with the storm is that we're not going to see those damaging wind gusts that we saw with the blizzard. Still a little breezy, maybe some gusts around 20 miles an hour tonight through tomorrow, but we're not expecting, again, those extreme winds. Live Pinpoint Doppler 12, no precipitation overhead, but there are some signs there's a little bit of a wintry mix trying to approach from coastal Connecticut, so we may get a little bit of that over the next several hours. I'm going to advance this now until 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when the snow starts to overspread the area. Could mix to rain in places like Westerly, Newport, Jamestown. As we go into the evening, some of the snow starts to stick. However, some milder air starts to work in at this point. So by 8 o'clock, we're mixing rain, sleet, maybe some snow in Providence, probably still snowing in extreme northern Rhode Island. And at the coast, it's just plain old rain showers. We continue the mix off and on overnight. And then tomorrow morning, this is 8 o'clock, still could see a mix of rain and snow in Providence, likely back to snow in places like Pasco, Rhode Island, northern and western Rhode Island, seeing some cold air at this point. And then that cold air really starts to try to drive back down into the afternoon and the evening. This is actually midnight tomorrow night. This is not tonight, but tomorrow night. Notice the blue filling in, indicating perhaps a few additional bands of snow. So that accumulation map, which I'll put up in just a second, keep in mind, that's when you add everything up today and everything up as we go into tomorrow night. The tricky part of the forecast with this weekend is that we have a very sharp line dividing the rain and the snow. So stay tuned to TJ's forecast tonight, because any little shift could make a big difference in our accumulation amounts. Speaking of that, we're talking 1 to 2 inches for Providence, 2 to 4 from Cumberland into Foster, Lincoln, places north and west of 295, coating to an inch of snow across the South Shore, because we're going to see mostly rain. And again, this will be adding everything up through tomorrow night, as we are expecting a few additional bands of snow. There is your 7-day Futurecast. Watching another potential system Tuesday night to Wednesday, and again on Friday.